So before we get started, I'm going to tell you about informed consent, because that has to do with the session today. Informed consent is the process in which a healthcare provider educates patients about the risks, benefits, and alternatives of a given procedure or intervention. The patient must be competent to make a voluntary decision about whether to undergo the procedure or intervention. So we're going to be doing a risk assessment today. It's going to be like a mental status exam, kind of. I'm going to just go through questions and you're going to answer them. And then also everything that you say here is confidential unless it affects children or the elderly, and if you would be like a harm to yourself or others. Okay, so we're gonna do the alcohol use disorders identification test based on what you said at last week's session, that you've been drinking more. So here we go. How often do you have a drink containing alcohol? The options are never, monthly or less, 2 to 4 times a month, 2 to 3 times a week, 4 or more times a week.
4 or more times a week.
Okay. And then how many standard drinks containing alcohol do you have on a typical day when drinking?
1 or 2.
How often do you have 6 or more drinks on one occasion? Never, less than monthly, monthly, weekly, daily, or almost daily?
Less than monthly.
Okay, during the past year, how often have you found that you were not able to stop drinking once you had started? Never, less than monthly, monthly, weekly, daily, or almost daily?
Never.
During the past year, how often have you failed to do what was normally expected of you because of drinking? Never, less than monthly, monthly, weekly, daily, or almost daily?
I would say never. I mean, is that just a one-word answer, or should I explain, like, if I'm having drinks at the end of the day, I know I'm not going to do anything else?
Well, so the question says, how often have you failed to do what was normally expected of you because of drinking?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, never.
Okay. During the past year, how often have you needed a drink in the morning to get yourself going after a heavy drinking session?
Never.
During the past year, how often have you had a feeling of guilt or remorse after drinking?
Sometimes remorse because I'm not as energetic, or maybe I don't feel like really spry, so.
Never, less than monthly, monthly, weekly?
Less than monthly.
During the past year, how often have you been unable to remember what happened the night before because you had been drinking?
Never.
Have you or someone else been injured as a result of your drinking?
No.
Has a relative or friend, doctor, or other health worker been concerned about your drinking or suggested you cut it down?
No.
Okay. Okay, you got a low score. Your score is 6 and places you in a low risk category for alcohol problems. Congratulations on this. It is important that we all ensure that any alcohol we consume does not lead to a pattern of hazardous drinking or addictive drinking. Your score indicates that your consumption is within the low risk range. It is important that you do not increase your present consumption. Doing so can easily result in your drinking becoming hazardous and serious health problems occurring and indeed escalating over time. Paying attention to your alcohol consumption and ensuring it remains within the low risk range represents a great investment for your future. Please note that if you are pregnant or contemplating pregnancy, most authorities recommend you do not drink alcohol. So that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Good to hear.
Let's see. Now I'm going to talk about how much a drink is. Let me see. In the United States, one standard drink or one alcoholic drink equivalent contains roughly 14 grams of pure alcohol, which is found in 12 ounces of regular beer, which is usually around 5% alcohol, 5 ounces of wine, which is typically around 12% alcohol, and 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits, which is about 40% alcohol. What kind of alcohol are you usually drinking?
Wine.
Okay, so how many ounces of wine do you think you usually pour?
Probably 6 or so. Yeah, probably around 6 ounces.
Okay, so that's 1 ounce more than which is a standard drink, because for wine it's 5 ounces. And wine is at 12% alcohol. And then here is this chart for you to see.
Okay.
Do you ever drink other types of alcohol besides wine?
Very rarely. Sometimes. Maybe once or twice a year. I'll have a liquor, like a bourbon or something.
Okay, and then for that, the standard drink would be 1.5 fluid ounces, because that is about 40% alcohol. Each beverage portrayed above represents one standard drink or one alcoholic drink equivalent defined in the United States as any beverage containing 0.6 fluid ounces or 14 grams of pure alcohol. The percentage of pure alcohol expressed here as alcohol by volume varies within and across beverage types. Although the standard drink amounts are helpful for following health guidelines, they may not reflect customary serving sizes. So sometimes the drinks that we order are more than one standard drink. For example, a margarita can have sometimes 3 shots in it, which would make it like 3 drinks. And a Long Island iced tea can have like 4 different drinks in it. And the drinking standards are different for men than they are for women. So for women, a standard like night of drinking should be 4 drinks, whereas for men it can be 6. So for women, if they're like having a Long Island iced tea, that's like, you're done. That's like the 1 drink that you can have because it's equivalent to 4 drinks. Let's see. Although men are more likely to drink alcohol and consume larger amounts, biological differences in body structure and chemistry lead most women to absorb more alcohol and take longer to metabolize it. So, to reduce the risk of alcohol-related harms, the 2020 to 2025 Dietary Guidelines for Americans recommends that adults of legal drinking age can choose not to drink or to drink in moderation by limiting intake to 2 drinks or less in a day for men, or 1 drink or less in a day for women on days when alcohol is consumed.
That makes sense. I've heard that before.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, we just have about 5 more minutes. Let's see. Okay. So even though your score was low, how would you feel about trying to decrease your drinking by next week?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay. You do? Why?
Well, because I haven't taken a break in a long time, and I don't want to, like, have such a habit that's just every single night, you know? And honestly, now that, like, if I stop or take a break, then I can do anything I want at any time of the day, you know, like, whereas if you're drinking every night, even though like your day is done, you're really probably not going to do much because you've had a couple of drinks. So I think it would be good to try it, see. You know.
Okay. Small changes can make a big difference in reducing your problems related to your drinking. Whatever strategies you choose, give them a chance. If one approach doesn't work, try something else. Adults of legal drinking age can choose not to drink or to drink in moderation by limiting intake to 2 drinks or less in a day for men and 1 drink or less in a day for women. For those who drink alcohol and want to cut back on your drinking, these 4 strategies can help. Set limits. Decide how many days a week you plan to drink and how many drinks you plan to have. For instance, you might decide to only drink on a Friday night or Saturday night and have 1 drink. Schedule alcohol-free days every week. Count your drinks. Use an app on your mobile device to help. Understanding how much alcohol counts as a standard drink may also help. Manage your triggers. If certain people, places, or activities tempt you to drink more than you planned, you can avoid those triggers. For example, instead of a happy hour event with coworkers, suggest catching up at lunch instead. You may also want to remove certain alcohol products from your home. Find support. Ask for support from a friend, family member, a healthcare provider, or someone else who will support your choice to drink less. Note, not drinking at all may be the best option for some people, including people who are pregnant or might be pregnant, those taking certain drugs or medications, or people who are recovering from an alcohol use disorder or cannot control their alcohol intake. Do you find that you drink more or less when you are being social?
Yeah, probably more.
More?
Mm-hmm.
Do you and your friends typically go out for drinks?
I don't do that much anymore. So every once in a while we might meet for happy hour, but like not very often.
And when you're at happy hour with them, do you find that your drinking is the same as it would be when you're at home, or is it different?
Oh no, I drink less if I'm out because I have to drive.
Yeah.
So at home, yeah, I will indulge more.
Okay. And yeah, drinking when we drive or when we have to operate a car is not good.
So I usually only have 1 drink when I go out.
Okay. How often do you think you go out with your friends?
About once every 3 months. It's not that often.
And then the holidays are coming up, which is like a period of heavier drinking for people. Do you think that you'll drink a little bit more?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. It's just good to have plans in place so that you don't have to drive,
Right.
and yeah. Okay, well, this is really good, and let's see where